ladies and gentlemen, and all those who get to watch this, regardless of what platform it gets posted to. I have the honor of talking to Dr. Velvet, the metaphysician, here this morning. And let me give you a little bit of background on that. First of all, thank you so much for being willing to join us here this morning, Dr. Velvet.
You're welcome. Very welcome. Thank you.
I appreciate it, and I know everybody who gets exposed to your gentle spirit will enjoy this as much.
Thank you.
For those of you who don't know, I got asked by one of my upline, one of the leaders in our organization, to get on a call for the personal development hour. And unfortunately, Wendy ran into some personal trauma and was unable to make the call, but had asked the illustrious Dr. Velvet here to fill in for her. And I just felt so nurtured. I felt so cared for by you on that call that it just was impossible for me to not want to get you on here
Oh,
and have more people experience your kindness, your gentleness, and the
oh,
light.
so sweet. Yes. And it goes both ways because we all feel yours as well.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So, Dr. Velvet, would you do me a favor, please, and just tell the audience, um, the metaphysician, give us a little bit of background on yourself and how that comes into play.
Yeah. Well, and thank you for asking that because I get asked that a lot. Like, first of all, what is a metaphysician? And the very first thing that I let everybody know is that we are all metaphysicians. We are all striving to understand and know who we are and where we came from. So, a metaphysician is in search of not just the things that are physical, but beyond our physical scope of being able to touch, feel, smell, all of those things, right? So, how I would have to say that my early childhood had led me on a quest of knowing why was I experiencing some of the things that I was. I got to experience a lot of pain early on as a child as I witnessed what other people were going through. I understood how it impacted my heart. And as a child, I started questioning, why am I able to feel this and sense this, but other people aren't seeing it? Other people aren't sensing it. So I had a very high intuition. Um, I had an ability to see beyond what we were seeing with our eyes. But as a teenager, I kind of wanted to fight the spirit of it all and decided that I was going to go out kicking and screaming. And my life turned into the best way that I can describe it is complete homelessness, complete travesty. I was losing right and left. And it was then that moment of darkness, and sometimes when I think about it, I still want to cry. That moment of darkness was what allowed me to see the light. It allowed me to see that I was never alone. It allowed me to see that the decisions that I make impact other people as well as myself. And from that homelessness, I remember sitting in the car and crying. I had a 1 year old in the back seat. I was pregnant with a new one. My ex husband at the time was just laying there sleeping. And I remember asking God, how can somebody with everything that we're going through right now be so unconscious that they can sleep? Because I couldn't sleep. And it was then that the car filled up with this peace and this light. And it had a funny voice. It giggled and it said, well, what do you want? And I felt this peace and this joy. I was like, wait a minute, you mean I get to ask what I want? You mean I get to participate in this? And all of a sudden, my mind just filled up with all this success, this beautiful family, all this love, and people around me everywhere. And so I kind of sat there and giggled for a minute and I said, okay, well, now what? I mean, I had no money, had no food. Our car could barely make it down a block. And the voice said, sell everything in your car. You're going to have everything that you need to get home, and I'm going to make sure that you get there safely. And it was I woke up that next morning and I told my ex-husband what we were going to do. He never questioned it. I was guided and protected the whole time. And as the years began to unfold, that is when I realized that everything that we experience in life, and I should say I experienced in life, has led me to be who I am today, to help other individuals in their pain, whether it's physical pain, emotional pain, mental pain, spiritual pain. I mean, we just overlook the spiritual pain so many times. And that's what I was doing. I was overlooking that. I was only focusing on the physical. And so as my life began to unfold and I realized, wait a minute, I went into nursing school. I was working as a waitress to put myself through nursing school. I was a single parent at the time. I got rid of that first husband that kept wanting us to be homeless. And when I was in medical school, that's when I realized, wait a minute, there's something even bigger that I'm missing here. There is a better way to health and optimal wellness. And so we kind of got into a battle. I was one of the nurses that would always say, wait a minute, why are you doing that? That just doesn't seem right to me. But when my own son fell ill and they treated me the way that they did, I decided it was time for me to get out of nursing. I went into teaching so that I could be with my children as they grew up. Once they developed into their own persons, that's when I went into x-ray school. And x-ray school really enlightened me because now I wasn't just dealing with the surface of individuals, I was able to see through individuals. I was able to see past what we see here in the physical, and my mind began to click. And I remember when I was a supervisor for an orthopedic spine clinic, and everybody would come to me and they would say, Velvet, do you realize you have a special gift? Do you realize that the angels are always around you? And I'd say, no, I don't know anything about that. And they say, you bring a presence to you about you that calms individuals. Well, I wind up taking another journey, another twist and turn. And when I was doing marketing, I was a marketing director for a mobile x-ray company, and it was killing me. I mean, the age of me was just killing me. And I remember telling my rep, I said, I've got to get out of this. This job is killing me. And he said, you'd make a great massage therapist. Again, somebody was seeing something in me that I could not see because I said, what in the world makes you think I'd be a good massage therapist? And he said, you're so nurturing. And I said, are you kidding me? I don't like touching anybody. I don't want to touch anybody. And he said, no, I think you need to check it out. And when I checked it out, spirit spoke. I knew exactly what I needed to do. I signed up, paid for everything that day, pretty much gave up a six-figure job to do massage therapy. Everybody thought I had gone off my rocker. But while I was in massage school, I decided that I could help people more than just their physical aches and pains. So I had contacted an alternative holistic school and I said, listen, I think I want to be an ND on top of being a massage therapist. And the lady just said, no, 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 no. You don't need to be an ND. You need to be a metaphysician. Again, I was like, could you please explain to me what a metaphysician is? I have no clue what this means. She said, I can tell you, honey, you would be the best metaphysician. You will be known as the metaphysician. And I was like, okay, then I'm going to take this as my clue, is that this is what I'm going to do. So it took 8 years to get my PhD. And all along the way, it was a self-discovery. It was also helping people in ways that I could have never imagined in my life. And I remember in 2021, I'm out in my flower garden. And I remember saying to God, because, as a metaphysician, I do quantum biofeedback, I was doing massage therapy, I was doing coaching. And I said to God, I said, I'm missing something. There's even a better way. And I asked to be shown that better way. I said, there is a better way to help individuals. And then that's where my life turned to where, here I am today as a mixture. And I always say that the LifeWave patches are my gift from the metaphysical world as my tool. As a metaphysician, it is a perfect tool for me because it's quantum frequency, it's helping people get out of pain, it's adding more light to their inner being so they feel happier. And I always say that if you can feel happier when you go home, you're not going to kick your dog. Or if you feel better, you do better. And so I just feel like this is an absolute magnificent tool for me to use as I increase the vibration of this planet. That's what I say. I'm increasing the vibration of this planet one patch at a time.
Wow. Wow.
I know it's a
I'm
lot.
well, what I love about it is the fact that it's enough. When I'm really, and this doesn't happen to me very often. I'm kind of at a loss for words and questions, and I make a living asking questions.
That's how I felt when I was working with you last time and we did that last presentation. I was like, oh my gosh, he's got me speechless. Nobody does that. Now you know
It,
what that feels like.
it's so cool. So let me ask you, maybe if I can probe on this front, what is it that, I'm sure your plate was full. You had a lot of work. You weren't looking for anything. Yet this divine voice whispers, there's more. And you're introduced to the incredible organization that we both take part in now. And I'm assuming because this came to you and the frequency that it spoke at, you were able to hear. What what was it that caused you to maybe clear part of your plate, take something like this on, as busy as you were?
Actually, this is another divine intervention because my plate was cleared for me. Um, it was made, it was absolutely created that I had to be still. And what I mean by that is that I had an eye injury, and that's that voice kept saying, I need you to be still. I need you to be still. Well, the person who I am, I don't know how to be still. And so it said, okay, we're going to help you with that. So when I had the eye injury, the doctor said, oh, it's only going to be a week or two and you're going to have to be still, right? I couldn't move. I couldn't lift anything. All he said is go to the bathroom and come back. And when I went to go see him on my checkup, he said, no, another week and another week. And this led into 3 months of no activity. That gave me time to think about and to also receive the information and how my life was getting ready to change. And I still wasn't complete on how that was going to change. But we had a friend that had fallen ill. And if it had not been for the introduction, and if it had not been for you're going to be still for a minute, I wouldn't have been able to share and to learn and to understand the depth and the level of the company that we are in right now. And so it was like, okay, we're going to etch a sketch your whole life and this is what we want you to do, right? But it wasn't about I was being told what to do. I had already asked, I had already said, there's got to be something better. I want to help people in a bigger way. And the prayer was answered. We're going to show you how big it is, but because it's so much out of your scope, in a higher frequency and a higher vibration, we're going to have to tone you down a bit while we integrate this system into your cells. You're going to have to integrate this as a passion. And that's exactly it. When I talk to people about what I do now, they're like, oh my gosh, you're so passionate about this. And they know that I speak the truth. When we speak from that place of heart, there's an element of truth. There's all that is truth. And it permeates out for anybody who's willing and ready to receive it. So I never push, right? If they're not willing or ready to receive, that's not my job. But see, that's where the quietening down, be still. I need to prepare you because you're such a pusher. You know, you tell everybody what they need, you're giving everybody the information. I need you to chill back. I need you to realize you can relax in life. I've got you. And that's how I feel and how I have felt since this shift has occurred.
How cool is that? My life scripture is Psalm 46, verse 10. Be still and know that I am God.
Yes.
It's interesting, right? Because this technology is really all about meeting people where they're at. And if they aren't ready for this, there is no amount of pushing can change that.
This is so true.
But we remain sensitive to those who are seeking and sit quietly and allow them to take this from. So there's no push. And I love that about this platform, about this company, more importantly, about the incredible people who've been attracted to this and who are building it and changing lives while they do it. Because it's not about them. It's about people who sit and suffer in silence because they're completely unaware that this is waiting for them. It's just around the corner.
This is so true. It is absolutely so true. And those transformations continue, right? So it's one vibration adds to another frequency, and it continues to reach its arms out to everyone. Yeah, it's so true. Mhm.
What I'm loving about what's unfolding at this point in time, coming on to our 20th anniversary as a company, like it, the quality of people, the quality of product, the science behind all of this, the undeniable stories. Um, you know, when you look at some of the outside entities that measure and grade the efficacy and the value of organizations like ours that are in this networking space, looking to provide people with solutions often. Uh, and we see, like, I know yesterday we were sitting at number 2 from a momentum perspective globally. And it's becoming undeniable, even for the people who are looking for reasons why this won't work, are
Exactly.
being shushed, So, and it's because of people like you who are getting behind something like this, who understand the vibrancy of what it is we have for the people who are hurting, right? And as you mentioned, it really, it doesn't matter whether it's on a physical plane, an emotional plane, a mental plane. Uh, like we can meet those needs. We can meet those needs. So I'm humbled really to be just companioned up with people like you and like the Dr. Harmons of this world, the Dr. Stacy's, and people who really understand at a much deeper level than the average networker who wants to come into this, earn a living doing it. I'm looking to really kind of promote as many people as I can with the purest vision and mission
Yeah,
that uh, that we can. And I'll use this word. I don't usually like it, but the world needs to be exposed to this.
absolutely. And you know, when you were speaking about networking, there is something that's interesting when people take that perspective because there can be that I'm going to pull back because it's networking. And I always share with people is that when you started school, the very moment you started kindergarten, you became a networker, right? Because you started learning who your friends were and you learned how to adapt and how to get somebody to play with you. and who you didn't want to play with as well. And as a network marketer, if we could just take it back to the kindergarten stage, I think we would be willing to say, wait a minute, this is just my sandbox. This is just a playground. And when we are able to take that perspective of it, it takes off the pressure and we realize that life is a game. Life is meant to be fun. And the other thing, when you were talking about attracting these other people, like these like minded and these light beings, when I say about intuition, we're all on a spiritual level, we're all able to do that as well. And we know that because one of the benefits when we begin to use this technology is our dreams brighten up. And I think there's a neat passage in the Bible, and I don't know where it is, but it literally states that a man who can no longer dream loses life, right? It's about dreaming and always having those dreams. And so that means that with our quality of sleep and the quality of dreams, we become more creative, we become more sensitive and in tune with the world around us, but also the unseen world around us as well.
Yeah, I love that. It helps us get to a place where we become conduit.
Yes.
I think is a great word for that, right? Like it's no longer about me, it's about what moves through me for other people to access. Because
Absolutely.
I know that, the sphere of influence that you will affect will only ever hear your voice. They won't hear mine. They won't hear a David Schmidt. They won't hear a Dr. Stacy's. They will only hear Dr. Velvet, the metaphysician. And if we aren't plugged in and willing to step into some of the discomfort that may cause for us, you see, it's getting back to that place of that kindergarten, that childlike faith where nothing is impossible, but
Yes.
we have a tendency to want to turn it into work, and it isn't. So let's get out there and teach more people to play.
Yeah. I love that. I absolutely love that. And I teach my team that too. Don't stress about this. Take it where you are and just have fun with it. Just absolutely have fun with it. And it's really interesting when you allow people to know, hey, you can play. It's a new concept for them because many of them have worked a job where they are told exactly how to be, how to dress, how to stand, and now they're like, wait a minute, I've got all this freedom. So part of our responsibility as metaphysicians is to help people feel comfortable as they begin to press against that bubble too, and that you get to be whatever you want to be. You get to play.
Absolutely amazing. So I would love to do a part two, and maybe three. I'd like to get on with you again and just probe, if you would allow me to, and get some of that gold out for people who suffer in silence. I'd really love to be able to do that if you're open to that.
Absolutely. And I'm sure that after people see this video, they're going to be saying, Dawn, I want that. I want that. I want to hear more.
I
Because they
hope so.
always do. They always do because it's peeling back those layers and meeting them where they are. And then they realize, wait a minute, there's more to life than just my physical self.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, any parting words for people who are watching this right now who may be wondering, is this for me?
Yes, and thank you for asking that because I always let people know no matter what issues you've ever had in your life, they have gotten you to where you are today. All of those situations, all of those conditions, all of those symptoms, all of your learning and all of your unlearning is about where you are today. So cherish those gifts. Look at your life and look back and say, wow, like I can say, I went to nursing school So I do know more about the body. I got to that. And then x-ray. Oh, I got to see the function of the body. So it might be teaching. It might be something else that you've done. It might be marketing, that you have a gift and you have a tool that is waiting to be expressed in whatever way that you're willing to allow yourself to become completely free. So I hope that helps you guys, that when you're thinking about this, what do you bring to the table? Well, everything that you've experienced and who you are today is enough.
I love that. Everything you are is in.
Absolutely.
What beautiful closing. Dr. Velvet, I can't thank you enough for this time. Like I'm I'm deeply, deeply touched by what you've shared here today. And I know the audience will be as well. So thank you so much for doing this. And I am going to ask for more of this.
Sounds good to me. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Thank you.